Welcome to Step Up Unfiltered, the home of uncensored conversations with extraordinary individuals like this one here, where we tackle life's biggest challenges and bridge division. Now, this episode, guys, is going to be a lot more business focused. So get your pens out, get your notepads out, because we have got a successful businesswoman in the building. If you could please tell the audience your name, your age, your occupation or occupations, and a fun fact.
It's like a job interview already.
Of course.
My name is Cherelle Jay. I'm 33, founder of a few companies. I now have Heels and Feels, which is a dance and wellness brand, and Cherelle Jay Creative, which is my coaching company. A fun fact about myself is that I used to be a presenter for MMA shows.
What?
And I used to train Muay Thai, so just...
Oh, really?
Mind yourself.
You can bang man out.
Mind yourself.
You can bang man out.
Yes, solid. Maybe not now, but yeah. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. So when were you into MMA? I'm intrigued to know.
God, I was raised around it. My parents both were like black belts. My dad did some incredible shows back home in the UK. Like forced me into presenting when I was like, I don't know, 16, 17. So I was the presenter for all of his shows for about 6-7 years. Yeah, so that's cool.
What shows did you do?
Are you into MMA?
Yeah.
So like back in the day, Cage Rage, UCMMA.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah, so a few of the like UK ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Yeah, it is amazing. I went and done a Muay Thai camp in Thailand for a month.
Yes, me too.
And yeah, it was unreal. If you ever want to just get in the best shape of your life, literally a couple of weeks.
It's legit my 2026 like goal. Like I want to get back, because I know we're gonna like start talking about the business stuff, but sometimes your brain, even though you're not necessarily doing loads, your brain is taking up so much of your energy, and so much of your exhaustion isn't actually happening from anything that you're doing physically. It's just like mental fatigue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like enough now, because I've always been someone that's been in the gym, and I've just seen myself like last year just like slowly crumble, the move to Dubai, all of this stuff. So this year I'm like, we're back.
Yeah.
I can't, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, whatever, I want to feel active and fit again. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Funnily enough, I had somebody on the podcast yesterday, and he's, quite a famous DJ. He's kind of hung up his boots now, but he still does like a lot of, own business stuff and whatnot. And he every single year goes to Thailand. He's literally just gone today.
Cool.
So he's been in Dubai for the last few months.
So cool.
To do a wellness retreat, gets in like absolutely stripped and just like takes a couple of months off work.
Oh, I love
that. Goes back into things. So yeah, bear in mind you have your own schedule.
Yes.
Out there, little luxury. I was about to say, I know you're always busy.
Do you know what? Maybe this summer, because obviously we all know that Dubai gets like stupidly hot.
Very true.
So maybe just in a time where you can just kind of like step away. Because the beauty of my work, other than the fact that I just told you I'm traveling again in like 4 days, is that I can work from my laptop anywhere. I've really worked harder over the last 2 years. Because I was so needed in locations back home, I've really worked over the last 2 years to make what I can mine.
Yes.
So that I can be more around the world and doing things on my own like time.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a little Thailand visit in the summer.
There you go. I think that's important. I think that's a good shout as well. That'd be a really good time to do it. So yeah, it's interesting with you. I feel like so much of what you've done just ties into what you do now. Like as you just said, presenting.
Yes.
No surprise.
Yes, and I think I've tried to overcomplicate it, because everyone else is like, well, duh, like that makes sense. And I think when you are building your businesses, you want it to make so much sense that you kind of add this thing, and actually, what it is what it is. And I think sometimes one of your biggest like money issues is probably the fact that you're overcomplicating it, or you're trying to make it something that it is, but just that looks really good on paper and actually just be the embodiment of it.
Yeah.
Like I've been on stages for 17 years, not just the presenting, but I was in musicals, I had a performing career, I was a singer at one stage, all of those things. So 17 years to now obviously deliver that inside my business, dance and wellness company, retreats, stages, all of those things, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I have just been like desperately trying to like make it feel bigger than it is, and it's just like, just chill out.
It's gonna come through.
And I think to the person on the other side, like they understand why they buy from you. They understand. We'll get into like, I'm sure like more of the business stuff, but there is a real reason why people feel pulled to you. We call it magnetism, but I think we we try to like title that and try to like formulate that and put it into a method. And actually, sometimes you just have to trust that yourself, you are the the magnet, I
Yeah.
guess. Obviously everyone has different businesses. I do have personal brands, so that is big for me.
Yeah.
But the more you can just be yourself and just like amplify that.
I saw a raunchy post from you actually. Not raunchy in that sense, more raunchy, just like actually it was raunchy. Yeah, it was raunchy.
Which one?
You said in 2025 you like to F. You like to fuck. I was like, but I get it.
It's so funny. Like all of my business has somewhat, it's not sexual innuendos, but like it is going back to the core of what I teach, which is like when you love yourself, your body, your essence, people will want to buy from you.
I get it.
And I built a 7-figure brand, Hills and Fills, which is a dance and wellness company. But that was on the basis that people were coming into a studio learning how to get sexy. It was that simple. People just didn't know who they were, didn't really enjoy their bodies, and they came into a studio. And I was a representation for that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was simple. Like I sold a model that people needed and people bought into because it was very clear. I think now that I've become like a coach, and I know that you've kind of done coaching as well, like it is hard because there's so many coaches, it's so saturated. Yeah. So you're having to find a niche, and you try and whittle it down, and it's like, actually, I have to go back to the fact that like one of my biggest things was like the sexual energy that built what I built. So I think I've just tried to like be a business coach and like strip myself of all these things, when actually people are like, yeah, you build businesses, but we come to you because you talk about shit that like, that like a lot of other people don't, and it's really not that deep. Like sex is sex, embodiment is embodiment. And I just think like women in particular have been shunned and like slammed for this kind of stuff. So even though it's scary, I really try to like, okay, where I can neutralize that a little bit on my platforms and be like, yeah, duh.
So do you feel like women are still shunned?
Yeah, and I think there's nuances to this, because I feel like you have the other side, which is like such liberation, where now people are making crazy money on things like on like OnlyFans, and like I'm here for like women should be able to do what they want to do to get whatever they want to get, but in the same breath, now we are seeing such different ways of behaving and stuff that it's like I just think whatever women do, we're kind of like penalized for it. But then also you do have some of the people leading these movements that aren't exactly the best representation for the rest of us, you know?
Would you not say though that Bonnie Blue is a representation of, the extreme?
No, I agree. Yeah. And I definitely don't like, my platform has never been around picking on what other women do. Like at the end of the day, you do you, boo. But it is a shame in a time where I feel like, this is one of the reasons why I didn't even want to do podcasting for a while, where like my life became talking about, well, what should men do and what should women do? And I'm so bored of this conversation. So I think I'm like, look, we all know right from wrongs. We all know what feels good and what like helps the world. I know that sounds a bit like vague and like woohoo, but I don't know. I just feel like within reason, do your thing, but just know what you're doing for future generations, for people right now that, don't have a voice. Like, are you doing something good in the world? I don't know. That's what I believe in anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You've got your views. I respect it. So let's go back to the background then. Tell me all about how this all got started.
Okay, so I had a performing career, and I was pretty much like a dancer.
Okay.
And I was in between a lot of work. So I'd do a contract, then I'd be broke for like 4 months, and I'd have to go and do like bar work or, hospitality work. So it was even though the career that I had was good and the jobs that I would pull in were great, I'd then go back to being broke really quickly.
Yeah.
But then I started making a lot of money in like my side hustles. Side hustles at the time were things like presenting work, or like I did like shop girl work or working in bars. So I just got really used to like hustling. I just need to make some money. So that became a bit of like a, not a mindset, but like something that I was just good at doing, like being able to do many things. Then Story I've said a million times. I basically signed a contract with a company in LA that was all around me as a performer, as a like musician. I got there and it just wasn't what it was on the tin. The guy was a little bit narcissistic and wasn't good, took my passport away from me and everything. Like it was mad. And I was like, what, 23, 24 at the time. And I think that was my first time of like understanding my voice, my morals, what I want for the world, like kind of what I was just saying. And it just made me, I was like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm so over it. I'm so over being under someone else's,
So,
yeah. So came back from LA, started doing these dance classes, completely didn't have a brand, didn't know anything about business. I was just like, let me just do these dance classes.
so one question. Did you enjoy LA outside of that, or did that
I loved
unfortunately
LA. I
turn
used to
your
go
experience?
every single year because I was pursuing not only just a dance career out there, but just I'm really big on relationships. I always want to meet people
Yeah.
and do different things. And when I met this production company, they just sold a dream. And
Yeah.
for anyone who's 23, 24, you're like, oh my God.
Could be
like,
modeling, it could be
yeah,
whatever.
like it could
See
be
what I'm
anything.
saying?
We've all seen, you know, how these things pan out. And I just was like, I refuse. Yes, it was incredible. Yes, I did enjoy it. But I think I was really stung from an ego perspective as well. Like I was supposed to be there for 3 months, get an EP sorted, all of that kind of stuff. And to then come home and be like, sorry guys, you know what it's like, everyone's rooting for you.
Of course.
At this point, I was kind of doing the whole like, I wasn't an influencer, but I was that girl,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
everyone was like, yes, Cherelle, do your thing. And then to be like, sorry guys, I'm back home now. Like it just felt like a, ugh.
But do you know what though? I think that's a good point, and I think that's very, very strong from you. In a sense that I guess to me that makes sense. Like if you're not feeling it or something is a bit off or dodgy, then it's good that you kind of came away from that lifestyle, and in a way you didn't pursue your dream because you knew there was maybe more to come in the future. But obviously people can be critical of, we see other stories, the P Diddy stories or the R Kelly stories, or you know, all of those kind of celebrities where, you know, people have put themselves in really vulnerable situations,
Yeah.
and people just think, why don't you just get out of that? What was the difference from your perspective?
I don't even think it was different. I think had I just not had a mum that will fuck me up if I like, I'm joking, but like genuinely
Family.
like a family and a bit of like trust that what I was in wasn't right, I think I probably would have been like roped in even more because my family were like, yeah, do it, sign the contract with me, like everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there were subtle things that I was just like, no, it's not that. But just knowing that it was, but it's like at what point until someone's literally like forcing you to do something? Because it started off when I was back in London, it was like, you know, we need to just make sure you're in the gym. So can you just send us like regular pictures? We can't see you enough. Can you just take off that? You know, it started off like that.
Yeah.
Then when I was out there, they took my passport and was like, we're going to hold everything for you. So, you know, and it started off very subtle. And then I remember this conversation and this guy was just like, I just don't like that you're so opinionated. Rihanna's not opinionated. So you need to tone down. You need to stop speaking because I'm going to manage it. And all these things were great on me because I'm an outspoken, like I'm a South London girl. So I'm going to speak my you know, my truth. But I think he didn't like that. And I was just seeing sign and sign and sign again. And again, this goes back to why I do like my whole mantra is kind of like pussy power because it could go down the other way where, like, as a woman, like what we just started with, you know, because of dynamics, like, okay, I need to trust the PDSV. I need to trust. Yeah. Or there's pussy power where, like, no, do you know what? I do know who I am. I do know what my work stands for. So let me speak up and do something about it. And I think coming back home and starting the dance classes that were all about, I didn't know at the time, like liberation and freedom and like expression. I didn't know that that's what it was representing, but it meant so much more, not even just for myself, but everyone who came to my classes. And I think that's why we built such a big movement because it wasn't just come and learn how to dance. It was like, come and take up space again if you've ever been shut down.
Okay.
I just had like a bad relationship. So I think it just was a representation of like reclaiming my power.
Love that. So I've got 2 points.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
Why is it always looked at as kind of like a man bashing woman thing? Like, because usually within those kind of circles, there's always a female that's at the top, knows what she's doing, and sometimes the girls as well.
Oh my God, there's...
No, not always, sometimes, all the time.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, so, you know, for Epstein, there was a Ghislaine Maxwell. There's always women as well that are also taking advantage of women, but it's looked at a lot of the time as like a man woman thing. Whereas it could be a woman thing.
it can be a woman thing, but it's like and I hate to like go down like the political thing already, but it's like the all lives matter conversation. It's like, well, in this instance, we're not talking about that actually. We're talking about this thing over here. I'm not saying that there are women to women stuff, but the majority, the stats, everything is always kind of over here. I do think though there are women in power that abuse it, and I think even being in the coaching industry, which is crazy because I came into this industry knowing that like, oh my god, it's like women who earn money and they're like so inspiring. There's actually a lot of like narcissism and manipulation happening in coaching spaces, in spiritual spaces, like a lot of communities that are, it's sad. Like, and I've seen it. I've not necessarily been a part of it directly, but I've seen how like big company owners can really sway people's beliefs to, it's scary. And there's been times that I've even, honestly, this is even crazy that we will have to do this work, but I've even had to ask myself, is this me taking control or is this me just being a leader? Is this me manipulating or is this like, honestly, because I have to ask myself, I have power, I am in charge of people, and there's a responsibility that comes with that. So sometimes when I'm decision making, I really question my.
You have to as well, because you got to remember we are working with vulnerable people.
100%.
And not even that, I think sometimes the most vulnerable people are other coaches. A lot of people, when I learned how to coach at my academy, so many people have come from disruptive backgrounds, which made them want to help other people.
But
and then what a lot of coaches
can
do
be coming from a space that's slightly disempowered, or and therefore your coaching style is manipulative or crazy. It's so crazy. So I'm not perfect. Like I truly do believe that I'm trying to use my power for greater good. Like, and where I notice that there's disadvantages or things that aren't working in everyone's, I'm always, okay, how can we do better there? How can we do better there? And I hope my team could back that up.
It does come across.
And responsibility is hard, by the way. That's the hardest thing out of everything in business that I've struggled with, because it's like I'm not a mom. Like I haven't chosen that life yet. So to be so responsible for things that like, and I don't want to be responsible for someone else's life or livelihood, but it gets to a point where in business, you are responsible for people's salaries of this and that. And I'm just very mindful of the way that is perceived. And I think there was so many times where I'd be like, does that make you a people pleaser? No, I think it's just like, with great responsibility comes whatever that saying is. With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, like I'm very aware of that, and I don't want to it's not about taking it for granted, but I just want to be respectful of what I do with that, I guess.
No, I love that. And one thing I want to piggyback off as well, which is where I can relate, although it was more of a mixed setting, is I used to do modelling when I finished uni. We're going on arguably probably the biggest set I've done, the most amount of money, although the full amount wasn't paid. But lucky that I was abroad. And it was for a TV show. And it was a bit raunchy.
Right.
And I said, the tick box of I won't go any further than underwear.
Fine.
And a girl who was 18 said that she was happy to go a little further. And an older man said he was happy to go a little further. And then another older girl than me at the time, because I was only young, she was in her 30s. She said the same as me, like she was happy to do underwear. So our shots were just very like pretty professional, like a little hand on your chest maybe. But outside of that, it was just, really posing my boxer basically, which I was fine with. And then this girl was like really, you could see she was getting uncomfortable to the point she was crying on set with this older guy, and they were getting her to do it. And they were all encouraging her. And these were all very, very like liberal people. Oh no, it's fun, you look amazing in this. And I had to be like, guys, you can clearly tell she's upset. And I'm young, so I'm new to modelling, so I don't know if I should be saying something. I don't want it to affect further things and whatnot. I did have to be like, guys, you can clearly see she's upset. To the point, I think maybe it's because I had said something and they maybe realised they're going too far. They kind of just shut the whole thing towards the end. Obviously still released it. But yeah, she was upset. And in that industry, you're right. Like, there's so many things that they've done, and that was probably, unfortunately, minor.
Yeah,
and still alarming.
And it sounds so basic when I say go back to like we all know our right from our wrongs. Like, but if every single individual could be aware of that, then we'd all be in a better position. Where, like you say, you're on set and you know that that's not right. Why is no one talking? Like, or you're in a space and I don't know, there's just one particular race on, like, why is no one advocating? Like, and that's something that I've always been very big on. Like, I might not be the most political, I might not be the most I don't know what the word is, when you're like on the front line, like, you know, but
Not the most outspoken about politics and stuff
about
like that.
about certain spaces. But I know inside my world, inside my businesses at least, I'm always having conversations that are challenging and that, you know, sometimes are really uncomfortable, but for the sake of, are we doing the right thing here? Because, like, God forbid businesses can come and go, but like, you as a person, that shit, you've got to sleep good at night. And if you don't, like, that's on you.
But you know, it's a sad thing. I think that, and that goes back to what you said about the right and wrong. I think people could live a very sheltered life and they'll prioritize things over what's morally right. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a problem, and especially like in psychology. You'll probably notice yourself. There's so many conformity, you know, obedience to these done, and it shows when you've got a room of people and everybody's doing the same thing. People just unfortunately comply.
And again,
That's how those things happen.
a lot of the stuff here is systemic as well, because I understand why people do what they do sometimes for money, because they've not come from it. They don't have the choice. They don't have personal power in those moments, or at least it doesn't feel like that. So, I mean, it's not one person's duty to like unpick and unravel everything. But I think if anyone in power can just have better responsibility with what they do with it, would be on at least a better.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is, I think a lot of the time though, with people in power, a lot of those, you know, you go back to narcissism. Although I do think it's overused as a term. I think a lot of, you know, the P Diddy, for example, what made him so great, unfortunately, was his egotistical, evil tendencies, and that is.
I watched an interview with what's his name, Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
And he literally said, like, you have to be successful, you have to have a level of narcissism. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I felt like I understood, because he was like, you have to believe in yourself so deeply. Like, when everyone's telling you you're wrong, when everyone's saying that you won't get it. And like, on a real basic vanilla level, I get it, because there's a certain level of pursuit you have to take when people are saying, nah, you know, and as most business owners, freelancers, you had to have that level of grit to get through to the other side. So I do think there is a time where you have to face yourself in the mirror and be like, am I a CUNT here? Or is this in pursuit of my career just because I'm a nice person? Like, you have to ask yourself, like, what are you really doing to get yourself to certain spaces? It's crazy.
That's a really good point. You know, there's dark truths in everything. Dark truths in dating, dark truths in success. So yeah, I think sometimes some of the darker things in life can be used for good.
Yeah.
But I think, as you said, it's about honing yourself in and thinking about what's morally right, not just what's right for yourself or your business.
Yeah.
Presence is obviously a big thing, you know, for yourself. How did your experiences in early life shape your presence?
I'm going to maybe start and come backwards. So recently someone was like, so what is presence? And actually, I looked up on the dictionary. It literally just said your ability to be present in a moment, right? It wasn't about stage presence or your physical presence. It's actually just like being present in a moment. And what that taught me was, it goes back to the stage stuff that I did do, is that, well, in any given time, you're not always going to be your best. So it is your ability to somewhat manufacture what it is that you want to put out to the world, right? So if I'm saying that I want to go on stage today and like make everyone feel empowered, but I've just had a breakup, I have lost my house, or how do I do that? So presence for me is the ability to manufacture an essence. And because of so many years of storytelling, being on stage, being characters, being able to like make a room feel good, I feel like I've come up with something called like buyer activation or people activation, essentially knowing how to instill something in someone. To a degree, I had to really play with this idea of, well, that sounds fucking manipulative. But knowing that, again, what it is that I'm trying to produce is not manipulative. So all of this to say, I had 17 years of stage experience where, I was learning how to help an audience feel something. You know, if you have a shit audience, you have to know, okay, well, what's not landing, what's not reading well. And it's the same thing in business. You know, if your message isn't correct, if your promotions or your marketing isn't, what's happening so that people aren't feeling you. And so that's kind of what I've dedicated the last like year to, is like understanding what actually lasts. Why do people buy? Why do people but kind of like this whole thing of like cult movements, like they want to be part of something. It's like why we see so many like influencers take over, because they just created a brand essence that people are like, oh my god, I want this. So presence for me is just the ability to make people feel something. It isn't just big energy. I'm actually an introvert. It isn't like the loudest in the, I know no one believes me. It isn't that. No, because if we was having small talk here, I'd actually hate it. Like, honestly, when I've been a part of panel talks or like podcasts with groups, I'm usually like, because unless it's like getting me going, I am so like, just no. And like, again, if I'm with my people, I'm the biggest.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, in a room and in a crowd, like I don't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, presence is even that. Like I used to hate networking. I used to go to spaces, have panic attacks en route. Like
Really?
honestly, like so crippled with anxiety that I had to somewhat learn how to get better at that, because it was literally like, stopping me from certain things.
So this is a question that I read down earlier actually. When did you realize that presence was a skill that you could teach people as opposed to a commodity?
Yeah. It was through a mixture of things. I think one, last year, I kept having this thing in my business where I was like hitting a wall. And I was like, I can't teach people how to be me. Like, so, every time I kept hearing in the business space, like, you need to have a method, you need to have a framework, you need to have a methodology. I was like, I can't fucking break down how to be Cherelle Jay. Like, and equally, I don't want other people on the internet being Cherelle Jay. Like, so I was hitting this wall of, well, I know people need what it is that I do. So it was kind of like removing myself from myself.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And trying to actually understand, well, what is it then? If it's not just Cherelle Jay and her personality, it's everything else in between. It's knowing how to articulate yourself and your message. It's knowing how to like use your voice to like enhance certain emotions, or like captivate people with your like. So I was like literally analyzing myself and being like, hey, this isn't a Cherelle Jay trait. This is also stuff you learned in drama school, stuff you learned when you was on stage, stuff you learned when you had business shit going down. Like, so I just basically like put it into a bit of a formula.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I like that. Perfect. So obviously you dance.
Yes.
I've seen your Instagram, I've seen your stories. Did you have a preferred genre of music, or did you just do a bit of everything?
Like, I'm just an R&B girl through and through. So like my background has always been old school R&B, hearing music and all of its like intricacies. Like everyone knows me as the musicality girl, because if you come to my class, they're like, oh my god, I didn't even hear that in the music. So when I first started, it was about feeling. So we're going to dance to music that's going to make you feel, whether that's sexy, whether that's like vulnerable or just open or whatever. Whereas I think a lot of dance at the time, and even now with TikTok and stuff, is all about virality and just the trending songs. And I was like, don't care. So for me, the influence was always, again, how to make people feel, what's going to leave an impression. Generally speaking, I had my whole brand be in my feels. So Hills and Feels was the brand name, but we had t-shirts that were getting purchased around the world in my feels. And it was like a whole movement, because people were like, yeah, I'm just a girl, I'm in my feels, and it was really represented. We're okay to be vulnerable. We're okay to, have emotions and not be penalized for them.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And don't worry, I'm going to definitely touch on Hills and Falls later on. What mistakes did you make early on?
I don't think, okay, this is from a business perspective. I don't think they were mistakes. I just think I didn't know what I didn't know.
Okay.
I think what I wish I would have done a lot earlier on is have more processes, systems, and marketing in place, so that what we was capturing was getting like reproduced again and again. Because when we were doing something, we didn't know what we had done for it to be good.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of, it was always potluck. And I know that I would never want to take away from what I built by saying it was luck, but a lot of it was. A lot of it was good timing. A lot of it was that good time in the industry. And I think if we was to do it again, I'm not sure. Whereas now everything is a system, everything is a process. Okay, that worked. All right, how do we replicate that to go again? So what I didn't know. And generally speaking, I wish that like more people just, whether they got coaches or team in sooner, please, just to have other people's eyes on like what it is that you're doing so that you can, grow. What did I not do though very well that I am aware of? What are my mistakes? I think two things: overly trusting people and overly sharing.
Okay.
Which are two things that I preach about doing, but I think in doses, because otherwise you have what I had, which was people steal from your brand or people take from your heart or whatever it is that you want to call it. But I think, yeah, I just set myself up in a way where everything was transparent and everything was openly spoken about and everything. And I think people were like, okay. So I think a bit more boundaries in place. I think a bit more like early on leadership. I think now I display that well in my brands, but I think earlier on, because I didn't even believe it. And I was like, wow, this is so incredible. I was kind of like, I was part of the community and I was part of what it was growing as, not the leader of it. And then as soon as I became the leader of it, people were like, oh, shit then. So I think if you're starting a brand, understand that you're starting it for a reason because you are the leader. You are the person like bringing people on this journey. You can isolate and separate yourself, but I just very much wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think boundaries are so important in so many aspects of life. Like, I remember I did a workshop and it was called the ABCD workshop. And I know a lot of like masculinity, male coaches focus on, the importance of, health, wealth, relationships. It's a really commonly used phrase. But mine was basically on appearance, boundaries, career, and dating.
Okay.
However, I think boundaries was like the golden secret nugget that nobody focuses on. Everyone focuses on, there. I need to look better. I need to earn more money. Yeah, exactly. 100%. But boundaries are so key.
I think I'm only really learning this in the last 12 to 18 months. Like I've had businesses now for like nearly 8 years. And honestly, the first 6 years were just rough and I didn't know. I just thought I was being a good person and like, yay, doing the right thing all the time, which again, I'm not contradicting what I said in the early part of this, but I think it's paired with both. Like you can still be a good person and have freaking boundaries and be like, no, it's my company. This is what I stand for. This is what we're doing. But yeah.
As you said, people can sometimes walk over.
Yeah.
It's not even being a doormat. It's just, as you said, sometimes being too trusting.
Yeah.
And people will take your kindness for granted.
And that was the same even in like when we got our first team members and we were paying salary. Like I trusted people. Like, we're not, just because we made 7 figures does not mean we had that money just readily available. Like I've always been an advocate for like pumping money back into the business. I don't sit on money. Like I'm always reinvesting. So when I had a chance to like invest in a full-time team, I was like, right, okay, you want that? Okay, we'll pay you that. But yeah, sold a dream. So yeah.
Smooth transition into the 7 figures. So what did you do to acquire the £1 million mark?
I don't even think it was about acquiring. I think we just kind of going back to what I said, we did some incredible things and just kind of repeated it over time. I wish we had better systems in place to know exactly how the 7 figures were really being made. But really, I think it was just, we were really known for something and we doubled down on it. I don't think we ever tried to catch up with the industry. If anything, we were like industry trendsetters. We were always forward thinking. If we landed on something, we doubled down.
So what were these things that you landed on?
Cool. So
people take some inspiration.
So one of the first things that we did were like workshops at the time. I know it sounds so basic, but from dance classes, most people you just did dance classes and that was that. We were big on the community aspect. So we'd run like courses. Okay, we did maybe 18 courses until we went on to the next thing. The next thing that we did was conventions. I'd seen conventions been done in every other aspect, hip hop, dance, kids, conventions. So we was like, we'll do the first Hills conventions in the UK. I think we ran like maybe 6 of those. And they were probably our greatest kind of money makers, but also greatest expenditure. Like, we were flying people over from the States, business class, this, that. So it was a lot that was going into it.
I'm sorry, just to expand on that. So what is it about, I know the brand is like feeling sexy and feeling way better about yourself and have female empowerment. But then I know you go into like merch and stuff like that. So what is the core essence of the...
I personally think it's the community.
Okay.
We call some of the people who love it like dance enthusiasts, right? So yes, I think people, they come, so this is like a marketing thing. You come to dance because you think you want to get sexy and I don't know, find a new hobby, and you come for these core reasons. Underneath it is you want sisterhood. You want a space where you feel comfortable and recognized. You want a space where you don't feel judged. There's all these other things. And we knew this, but led with this. Oh my God, you want dance? Great, come. We've got all these incredible dance experiences. We put the best experiences on. But when you come, we're going to have these add-ons. We're going to have the retreats to go and deepen those elements of sisterhood. We're going to have the merch to make you feel part of something. Everything was like, how do we make this something that lasts? How do we leave an imprint on people?
Very smart.
And I think like one of the things that I think I am known for now is being a community builder. Like I literally put in a pitch today to work with a brand on that, like to literally be their community driver. I've put out pitches out here in Dubai for properties, like property developers, because so many people just think of like the outward thing that, you know, they think is their greatest selling aspect. But there's other layers. Like I was working back and forth with this company who, were property developers, and their big thing is that we want to make people feel like it's home. And I was like, well, it's not home for most people. You know, people come to Dubai, they don't have a sense of community, they don't have a sense of whatever. And you're trying to build this thing, and you're saying all this stuff, but like nothing is at that. So I was like, you know, would you be interested in doing like the monthly meetups, the paddle sessions, the you know, like the extra stuff that builds community? And they're like, oh God, we didn't see it like this. And, you know, and then you can have things like the memberships that, you know, people can have like, I don't know, tips for Dubai, or they could even be entered into, I'm just trying to, whatever it is.
Yeah, first yours were an iPad.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But just, I think there's so many extra layers when it comes to community building that people don't think of. They just think of the product first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we doubled down on that. And I think that's why people bought from us again and again. Like our lifetime value for a customer was thousands at this point for something that was essentially £17. Well, it wasn't even that back then. Our classes were like £12. You know, for someone to be spending thousands, tens of thousands of pounds with you, it's because they want to keep coming back. Like, you know, so that was our thing. Like, how do we increase our lifetime value with a customer?
So, you know, Hills and Fields, is that just the name of the business, or are all the dancers in Hills?
No, that is the name of the business.
Okay.
And it is at core what we deliver, Heels classes. We have gone down routes where we even had a spin-off that was like Heels and Feels, and it was HEALS, healing and feeling. So we were wanting to go down more of the like wellness route. Yep. We did a lot of, like I say, retreats with wellness aspects. We had like meditation packs. We did meditation sessions for a while. There's still routes that I want to go down with that. We've just franchised as well, which is a huge part of the brand. But in order to make our space even more scalable, I think we're going to have extra products as well that comes underneath us. And I think how my consultant likes to say, like, we're a niche within a niche. Like, dance is already a niche, and then Heels makes us an even greater niche, smaller niche in its greatness. But naturally, we're not like eating up the market if we're only like here. So I think we're looking to now get our name out in other spaces. My biggest kind of goal for 2026 is to kind of commercialize our offerings and make it a little bit more accessible to the average person versus just the woman who wants to learn how to dance in Heels. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds really, really cool. What is your heritage, by the way?
My mum is Sri Lankan. My dad's Irish.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to work it out. I assume that loads of people think you might pass for like Latina.
I've had everything. Like honestly,
mixture of Asian or Mediterranean.
Yeah. Maybe once in my life, and I think at that point, I was like, oh my God. And someone was like Sri Lankan, and I was like, no, like, are you stalking me? Because no one's ever guessed. So yeah, but all of the above.
Nice. And have you had any challenges as a woman of color, do you think, in business?
Yeah, I think it's just, again, like that market share. Like I think in one aspect that really helped me and my brand, because I just attracted a lot of women of color. So I think from like a market share perspective, I wasn't having to go over here to try and dominate this area. I was like, no, like women of color are coming to me because they recognize something in me. And also because I kind of consider myself a misfit, because naturally I don't look like I'm from anywhere. So I'm not even just attracting one type of woman of color. I'm attracting people that are just like, she gets it, she gets me. So I think I had a really great part of business building that. But then naturally, there have been things that I do feel are more shit, like going on to a panel talk and there's only white women, or going to a panel talk and like no one's talking about like diversity, or just being inside spaces culturally and feeling like, oh, no one really understands, or okay, I'm gonna have to tone myself down for this, or just slight, wording inside certain, I will say I think my industry is quite forward thinking from like a entertainment industry perspective. Like I think we are. I think if anything, I had problems with like body shape, size, just from being in theatre. It was just like, if you're under this height or if you're curvy, like you weren't getting booked. The only thing that I would say, but again, I think we've done well or better, is there just wasn't much representation on theatre, and like a lot of gigs were just looking for like one type of body, one type of woman, one type of. I think we've got better. So yeah.
Progress.
Yes, I am seeing progress. And I'm shouting about it. So I think that's one thing that I will say, and that I think we've been recognised for as well. Like if I'm having a conference, or you had a festival, like I am going to be the person that like that lineup is going to be so sexy because it's got every different type of woman, shape, size, culture, background, and everyone has backed that and been like, sure, like I come to your space and I feel so immersed in this. We can always do better. Like I'm always like, we need our faculty to represent this, we need that. But yeah, that's something that I take pride in. Like I really want to make sure.
Yeah. Nice. Like it. Why do you feel like so many people struggle to monetize their business?
Whilst that is a great question, can you just be a little bit more specific? Like,
well, think about how many entrepreneurs there are. And, for example, my business at this moment in time, it's a side business, that's growing gradually over time. But a lot of people, what's the stat of it? Is it 70 businesses fell within the first 3 years? Maybe even a higher stat than that. Why do you think so many people struggle to really get off the ground?
Yeah. I think what I meant by that, sorry, is I just think there's so many different types of businesses and I can't speak for everything, but I'm going to go with like more personal brands, content creators, coaches. I'm going to go with that stuff first because I think, excuse me. I think physical business or like product-based businesses is a different, But for anyone who is like monetizing off of their like personality or their experience, a service provider, etc., I really just believe it's probably like two things. One, you're either making it so much about yourself, and even though I'm going to contradict myself here and say that is also what you need to double down on the presence piece, on why people should be buying from you. Great. Sometimes you're not solving any kind of specific or particular enough problem, and so you're a vibe. That's why we've got influencers with millions of followers, but they're not solving anything. Unless you're just solely relying on brand deals, which it takes a while to get there. That's why I see a lot of people, they give up their jobs, they start doing content. It's not making me money. I'm like, how long did you think it was? It takes years sometimes to build brand recognition, but they're not solving a specific enough problem. And that again goes back to like, you don't have to just niche down to the point where like you're speaking to no one, but you have to know the psychology around why do people buy, what's really keeping them up at night, like why do they like need you? And then the other part, what was I going to say? I think people don't take enough time to actually understand their offering or their service. So especially someone like myself, whether it's ADHD, whether it's just being multifaceted, whether it's, I just get bored easily. You never actually see anything through. And so you're just constantly checking. You launch this program and you're like, yeah. And then you get bored within the first 3 months and you launch another program and like, you don't actually know. You don't have enough proof of what works. When I go back to my other business, Hills and Fields, which was just dance class, like that's all we offered. And then we had the additional little pieces here to have data. Great, we could grow something. But I'm noticing even in coaching, because you have one failed launch or one failed thing, or okay, well I have to find something else. Maybe that was juicy, but you just didn't get your launch vehicle going. Maybe the content behind it wasn't really enough. Like, so I just think like actually really figure out, get as much data as you can. One thing that a marketer told me, which I thought was great when she was speaking about ads, is if you can sell something 50 times, even if it's at £1, you already know that there's enough value in it and people want it before you start running ads on it. And I think so many people will start blowing money or start doing stuff on stuff that they've done 4 times. Like run something 50 times, run something enough times to be like, okay, I know the data here.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I've obviously seen your profile for the last couple of months. I've noticed that obviously your marketing is very, female centric.
Yeah.
Like your businesses. Do you work with women alone, or do you work with men?
No, I don't work with men. I have had like the occasional man say, "Oh, Cherelle, would you help me with my business?" I remember someone asked me, "Why don't you work with men?" And I was like, "Because I'm not a man. I just don't know how you think and feel." And I think again, when we come down to like bias psychology, I don't know what you're maybe thinking of, and I can assume that this is why I'm maybe not in a relationship. I don't know. Like I can think all I want about how men think and feel, but I don't know. So I just think it would be a bit crazy of me unless I knew something specific, like I don't know how to make socks, and I just knew it because I knew enough men in my life that liked a pair of white socks or something. That's a different story. But I think psychology of coaching and service-based stuff, I don't know what you would maybe want or need. I could guess it would really be that. It would be guessing.
But you know how like you spoke about presence, and a lot of people don't have that, and I guess even looking at like the trends and stuff now, where a lot of men don't, have kind of withdrawn from relationships and whatnot. Do you think that could transition over to men as well? I know you found your niche with women.
Yeah, no, I think I could work really well with men. Like I actually come across a lot of men who have businesses that are like, "Cherelle, would you be willing?" I am willing. I just wouldn't be the like a core offer, and it wouldn't be something that I lead with.
Of course,
I think if I came across like some guys that were like, "Could you help me with marketing? Could you help me with it?" Let's go.
Yeah.
But for it to be a driving force, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. And what you're doing is wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unnecessary to change that. I was just seeing if I guess you felt like you could.
There's a cool. Yeah, I think I could. I don't want
to. See, no love for the Amanda.
There's love for Amanda separately.
Actually, you mentioned relationships.
Yeah.
So relationships. So why are you single? Successful businesswoman.
But I feel like there is this understanding of like, if everything's together, you've got the success. Why don't you have a man? Like, but I actually think it's so many of the successful women that don't have partners.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to feed into the narrative of women are intimidating. I don't. I believe that there are men that will see this and think, wow, there's an incredible woman and she has beliefs and values and this. I don't. I've really tried to go against the grain when it comes to shit that's being spoken about on podcasts, online, on stuff, because it's not a man and woman war. Like, just because I love women doesn't, again, it goes back to like the all lives matter. Just because I say this doesn't mean that. I love women, and I genuinely believe my life's work is to help women find their voices and their power. That does not take away from the incredible men that there are on this planet, and the fact that one day I would love to be in love and be with a partner, and which to most people would be like, what? And also probably do the whole stay at home thing. I'm good with that. So many nuances. Just because doesn't mean this, Why am I single though? I think I have prioritized my business. I think there's a lot of things that come with that. I think I also have had previous relationships and certain dynamics with love that has made me anxious and just really feeling like I'm not enough. And so maybe I've overpoured into my business just to run away from the fact that I haven't really looked at some of my own things. So I've spent a lot of the last few years being single, doing that work. But it also means that you have to put that work into practice, and I haven't done. And I think whenever I date, I'm like, oh God, there's work to be done still. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I definitely get triggered when I'm dating, because I'm like, oh my God, I just thought this would be easy. Because when you work on yourself and you spend so much time alone, you're like, oh, I'm so ready for love, until you get triggered, until someone is there and you're like, fuck, how do I say this? How do I not run away? How do I not, So it's just hard.
Complicated, yeah.
Yeah.
So to feed off what you said, do you think that men are generally intimidated by successful businessmen?
I think generally, yes.
Interesting.
I think generally there's this fear that I'm hearing a lot that like because women are earning more now and because women are not necessarily needing men for different roles and whatever, that there is a consensus of, well, what do you need me for now anyway? That's what I'm hearing kind of overly when I have been dating, when I have been, that men are like, well, if you're doing this and why do you even need me? Huh? It's like, why do I need my friends? I need my friends because I want more love in my life. I want different aspects of different people. Like men's roles were never just to just do this and just to do that. So I think that's for a man to do his work around. Do I think that's the actual case? No. General perspective, that's what it sounds like, but from the actual underlying thing, no, I don't think it is. I think women are doing their thing, but we're still wanting men to show up for us and to do the thing. But I think there's been a whole disconnect over the last few years.
Yeah, I think that's a fair opinion. I think where I disagree. I think that rhetoric has basically come from women, to be honest, because we're in the whole F-men generation.
Yeah.
So although some men might be saying that, it's because women, I mean, there was a video that went viral the other day, and every single man said that they want women, they need women.
Yeah.
And every single woman, well, one who said that we need men for sex, all said that we don't need men.
No,
So we are very much in a generation of a lot of women saying, do you know what, F men, da, 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 da. And we obviously know why that is. So, yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I wouldn't say that most men are intimidated by business women. I think sometimes what comes with it is obviously, you know, a masculine man or a feminine woman. Obviously, a lot of the traits that you need in business can make you more masculine.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's sometimes where that comes up. Obviously, yeah, are there some guys that like generally would feel less of a man because these women has more? Yeah, but I don't think that's the case for most men.
Okay.
I think it's just more that side of things.
Listen, and I agree with so much of the stuff that does get said. Like, for instance, and this is why I know that like me and the women that I am around, we are being proactive around how we shape ourselves and what we're doing. I held a retreat recently in Costa Rica.
Yeah. That was amazing.
It was incredible. Thank you. And it was all around like reclaiming the fire, just being like the jungle woman. It was all about like you should be yourselves again. But with that, we were looking at feminine and masculine. I just did this exercise. I put 4 pots out.
Nice.
And I wrote about 50 words onto a piece of paper, like healthy masculine, one was wounded masculine, one was healthy feminine, one was, and obviously as men and women, we have both parts. We have both masculine and feminine energy within us. And I asked us collectively to go around with each word and figure out where it would in these boxes. So maybe it was things like control or power or vulnerability, and we'd see where we think that those words were. And anyways, when we did the whole thing, I asked the girls a case of what pot do you resonate with the most? And most of ours, which is like so shit to admit, was healthy masculine. Like often like the wounded masculine, the wounded feminine is like, you know, if you're princess, if you're needy, if you're spoiled, like that's feminine, like wounded. If you're controlling, dismissive, avoidant, that's wounded masculine. But so many of the healthy stuff we found in masculine traits, and we were all like, oh no. And we were having conversations around like, okay, so what does that look like then when we're entering relationships with men and we are displaying so many of these qualities and we're not, and we are having discussions around, okay, what things are going to help us be more in our feminine, and we are doing this work. When I say like me and a lot of other women in business specifically, we're doing the work. And it's not because we want to be masculine or but it's just based on relationships that we've either been in or culturally what has kind of happened and we've had to now like step up. We don't want to think of those things, but they're just like things that we've had to kind of.
Yeah, I respect that. And I think, you know, you made a really good, valid point of, and even I say it, although I do speak about it quite a lot, in terms of the whole, you know, I'm bored of the whole women debates and, you know, so am I. The reason why I speak about it is because, I mean, I meet a lot of women that actually don't understand or get it and don't understand the societal shifts. They're just like, why has dating become so messed up? And I feel like that question is coming from both angles and people don't really understand why, and it's quite black and white. So I think it's really positive that you have those kind of conversations because then everybody gets an understanding. You know, on my podcast I've never even had an argument although I might say something that triggers somebody
Yeah,
like
of
that.
course,
Do you know what I mean? And it's all about your delivery, and it's all about
100%.
having an honest conversation, actually making someone understand, well, these are the facts, this is what has actually happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really, really good and positive that people can reflect on that. And, you know, I've seen it be successful. My mum's a, you know, businesswoman.
Mm-mm.
I've been married to my dad for 30 years,
Mm.
but I think my mum, you know, can turn it on and turn it off
Yeah.
in certain respects. And I think that's just all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Depending on the relationship that you want.
Yeah. I think it's also just dependent on every single individual person. And I think, again, because so many people are consuming so much shitty stuff online, unfortunately, the mass has become man, woman, da, 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 da.
Mhm.
And it's just a shame because I think there are really healthy conversations to be had every time I'm dating. I'm having honest conversations, and it's uncomfortable because I don't feel as if that's the norm. And so there's another aspect of like, you then feel crazy because you're bringing up stuff that's very real, but then people don't want to have those conversations. So then you're being gaslit, and it's just like, it's frustrating. I just think, firstly, I'm just very aware that in my dating life, I won't unless I feel kind of heard and considered in the understanding of what this world is right now. It's fuckery. So like, as long as I can have a partner that just is willing to converse and have difficult conversations, like that's all I care about. But maybe the point is that that's getting like thinner and thinner as we go.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly, and I can relate to that, men and women.
Yeah.
As a coach, like women don't want, a lot of women don't want to have these conversations. A lot of people just want to be in a, men and women, this is, just want to be in a box. It's like, I'm left, so my person needs to stay left, or I'm right. So like, a lot of these things change over time. People transition. That doesn't mean that person's not a good person because you have different, it's not even values, but you have different thoughts.
Beliefs. Oh, yeah.
You might not like the same reality TV star, do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you're not right for each other.
But the cut off that happens as soon as someone says it, as soon as something, and I'm just like, it's such a shame that like we don't have space for nuance anymore, or space for like understanding anymore. And
critical thinking.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think, again, this is why I'm like, do your part, Cherelle. That's all you can ask.
Yep.
Go on podcasts that are going to allow conversations, or have conversations with your, like the amount of times me and my friends are sat down and having political conversations that we might not bring online, but we are doing the work inside to just make sure, okay, so what's that? What's this? I just think like personal responsibility is a big thing.
100%. And so like, I'll get questions from all the boys because they know that I'll talk about this kind of stuff. I've gone a little bit more into politics, which I never wanted to do, but unfortunately, when you discuss social issues, politics comes into that.
Yeah.
And I said, I got asked on a podcast 6 months ago, which I've only started releasing clips from now, like what gives you a sense of importance? I said, weirdly enough, it's actually just keeping myself informed on the issues that I care about.
Yes.
Because, yeah, being able to watch debate shows from, you know, from two different points of opinion and forming your own opinion, which makes most logical sense, you know, doing your own research, being able to answer these tricky questions, because they can be tricky, but a lot of the views and stuff that you'll see are just completely biased.
100%.
So being able to keep yourself informed, have those conversations with your friends, keep them updated.
Yeah.
It is actually just so key, especially with the world that the world is going at this moment in time.
And being really passionate about what you do care about. I think like one of my friends is just the most incredible advocate for so many spaces, and unfortunately she just gets shunned because of it, because her beliefs they're not even big, they're just what the world should probably be thinking. But it's just a shame that there's no spaces really to like have those conversations without feeling attacked or judged. But yeah,
strange times. So some quick fire questions before we go into some other bits. So why retreats over online programs? I mean, obviously from the offset, retreats are awesome. But from a financial perspective, is that better? Is that even important?
I actually would say if you can monetize with online programs first, probably pick that first. And then grow retreats when you've got a loyal community. Retreats are a heavy expenditure, or a lot upfront at least. I mean, I run retreat program teaching people how to run retreats because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that if you do this wrong from the first go, you can be in debt very quickly. But equally, if you want to build in-person communities, retreats.
Okay, nice, perfect. Public speaking.
Yes.
Fear or fuel?
Fuel.
Plus, why?
Because again, if you don't know how to connect with people, like you're already missing the point. I hated speaking on stage. I used to get like anxiety, like generally. But if you don't know how to articulate yourself, I'm talking, how are you going to have better relationships in general if you don't know how to speak?
Yeah.
You know, so public can just, everyone should have everything.
What separates people that have success in business and the space that we just mentioned? So the entrepreneurs and yeah, I guess people kind of doing that, I guess service-based business and people that get stuck. If you could pinpoint it down to one main factor.
Like, it's another layer of grit that I don't think you can teach someone. I think you have to be so okay with adversity and so okay with failing. It just is something that you have to really ask yourself. Like, you can have a cute little business that works, like, fine. But if you really want to do this and give up everything, like, ask yourself, am I ready? And that for me doesn't look like, and it hasn't looked like, getting up at 5 and doing 900 things a day and like being like, you know, I think there is a world where that exists for the 1% and stuff. But I think to still make a great income and to still do your thing in the world, you just have to be okay with people talking shit about you, getting up, doing it again, receiving no's on a daily basis. Like, I sell on a daily basis just to remind myself that people are going to say no. Like, it is like a known fact that, like, not everyone is going to love you and buy into you, and you just have to train yourself to be like, okay, it doesn't affect me when I don't make a sale, because I'm like, I'll make a sale tomorrow. Or like,
it gets close to the yes. What actionable steps could you give someone? So based off your experience, I know this is very hard to contextualize because you've obviously got years of doing it, what works, hours or minutes that people need to put over a day, or maybe even let's say over a week, if that's easier, on their business. How many outreach messages should they be sending out if they're, you know, they're starting up an online business and they want to get some traction?
So I'm not saying this is for everyone.
Yep.
I've never personally sent out any outreach messages.
Okay.
I think obviously there's time with business when you're maybe looking for sponsorship and stuff. We've maybe had to go down that route, but content first. If you can be posted at least once a day, 2-3 times a day, that is what's going to get you quicker acknowledgement and visibility than anything else. That is personally if you go down the content creation coach route.
And what platform would you say is best?
I think TikTok for visibility.
Okay.
I think Instagram for like nurturing. The rest, I don't really use that much. Again, this is very much like based on what you have and what your business looks like. I think TikTok is great for like getting people to know you, to like build a vibe, like to have someone understand what your brand builds. And then Instagram is like nurturing them, again, understanding their why do you need this thing, psychology around like what it is that you're selling. But on like a daily basis thing, I think the ability to show up and sell or talk about what you do every day. And I don't mean this in like a right every day at this time I get up, but like every day talk about your business to someone, share it online somehow. Like something has to actively be in your business. Like even on my days off, it's not because it's like no days off team, but it's just like if I had a child, if I had I don't know, the same way that I need to do something. If I want something to succeed, I have to give it thought at least.
It's got a lot of time. But you wouldn't give us an exact figure. It's just more.
I don't have an exact. Do you know what I will say? I went through the phase of being like, I only need to work 50 hours a week to make money. I think it's bullshit. And I think I'm going to be really honest. I think this whole like work 1 hour a day, I think it's bullshit. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a way and a world where maybe you crack the code and you get some kind of viral thing going and then you have a passive cause. Like I saw something yesterday that I was like, fair play. You know, like on YouTube, when you go onto YouTube and you search dumb shit because you need it. You know, like someone generates something like millions a year because of, you know, the fireplace. They did an 8-hour fire background place that obviously has had something like billions of views. Like if you do something like that and you crack the code, fine. But like I'm talking generally speaking for your business, I do think you need to be working solid days. That doesn't mean if you're working a full-time job, you have to now go and work 8 hours when you get home, but like dedicated time, 100%. Like to what it is that you're putting forward. So for me, that is, I do a full working day. Just because I work for myself doesn't mean that I'm just like gallivanting at beach clubs every day. If I want to, and I want to have a day off, I want to go and have a massage, I want to just, do you know what, it's too much today, I can.
Yeah.
If I did that for like 3 weeks, I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, every day.
Yeah, every day. So pretty much like keep like what you would do maybe at a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6, let's say, for example. Keep that same structure.
Yeah.
If you are focusing on your own business.
Yeah, and I'd say it wouldn't even have to be the same structure. For instance, I hate a 9 to 5. Like I'm not like a morning girl. Like for me, the rule is no calls before 11 a.m. Like I just want to have my mornings to myself in the gym, focusing, like really getting clear on my vision. Then I'm probably all in till like 7 p.m. So like 11 till 7. That's me. So again, it's not like traditional, you have to do this, but find something that works for you, find something that feels good. And again, have some kind of like practice that just shows that you're this business leader that you want to be. You know, like for me, that's me showing up online. That's me showing that I have a business. Like some people are like, oh yeah, but I don't want to sell, I feel too salesy. I'm like, you're crazy. Like that's what business is. It needs to have revenue.
So you said that you don't send outreach messages, but then you obviously create content to get yourself. So how are you, because you said that, you know, you don't mind getting a no to get a yes. So how are you going about getting yourselves in?
Okay, so
outside of just the content and people reaching out to you?
Yeah. So for 2 types of content that I talk to like some of my clients about, like catch content and converting content. So this, I'm just going to quickly, catch content is like something that's like brand overview. So I will post and it will be like something that's quite an overview of what it is that I do. Let's just say I'm a health coach, and my messaging for that day might be like calorie deficit so hard that I got the body that I wanted for the rest of my life, or something. I don't know. I'm not a health coach.
Yeah.
It's not specific, but it's an overview where other people can like your stuff for you. You know, it's sending the message that I want to be a part of this, or I feel like this, or how can you like catch more people in? Like if I was throwing a rod, I can get more people into my space, but the conversion is how do I get them in? How do I funnel them down into something?
By catch a nibble.
Yes, basically we want someone to like actually eat the food, right? So then that might look like, okay, what specific things am I doing? Okay, so what keeps them up at night? So again, I'm not a health coach, but maybe I'd say something like, look, every time it's Christmas, you start hiding behind the group pictures because you don't want your body to be involved. Every single time you go to have those conversations with family around weight, you start getting angry with it. Like it's all the like the nuances and the things that people are actually going through that
the pain.
Yeah, like I get pain point marketing is never going to go away. There's different elements to that. You have like buyer activation that makes someone feel something, their future paced stuff. So yeah, what I'm doing right now is just focusing on like 2 types of content that actually pulls people in from like a visibility perspective, but then also actually converts them. I think then having a system that works with either like masterclasses that you're doing frequently enough to get people in, or again, that's just like your funnel. How does that look like? How do you actually get people in and up in your products? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. It's hard to say in like, yeah.
I get it. Well, that's enough content. I actually made some notes as well, which I'll put in the notes section of the YouTube video. Some nice actionable steps that you can take from Cherelle. And, you know, if you guys want more information, make sure you DM her.
Yes, I'm down.
So, lighter topics. Dubai.
Yes.
Have you fully moved?
I have, like, literally 5 days ago. I got my place a couple of months back. I was to and from in, and it was exhausting. Every single time I'd come to Dubai, I wouldn't have a place. I was staying in Airbnbs. I'm over it. And then I got my place the last time I was here on a whim, because I found somewhere that I liked. And this has been my first time coming and being like, it's my apartment.
Lovely. Fellow JBC
gang.
Come on. All the UK people are pretty much.
I feel like I'm home.
I know, it's sick. How has Dubai impacted your business?
It hasn't.
Okay.
And that wasn't the intention. And I think so many people assume, for myself, maybe other people, that I don't know if I can't speak for other people, but I moved to Dubai for business. I actually didn't. I moved to Dubai because of lifestyle.
Mhm.
All of my work is pretty much online / my clients are in the UK.
Mhm.
For now, I think I will start to eventually crack Dubai, but that wasn't the reason why I moved here. And I'll be honest, this is why I've had so many people's Dubai failures, is because I think people come to Dubai because Dubai is going to save everything. And I think that's wrong. I think you
Yeah.
should move here on a whim.
I think people literally think they're going to network with like a millionaire or billionaire in the first 3 months, and they're just going to earn loads of money. A lot of people come out here, they do real estate for 3 months, don't make any sales, have to get a flight home. Obviously, in terms of like that Las Vegas effect, like desire, let's say,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, however you want to coin it, you know, there's events, there's the best events happening here in the world. There's F1, there's rugby sevens, there's quality clubs and bars and
conferences
restaurants
that
and
you'll
beach
never-
clubs and brunches. There's literally everything to do here, and spend a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of things actually aren't as badly priced as you think, but a lot of things are expensive, and people just run out of money so quick.
Again, I think the lifestyle makes you run out of money because you want to keep up with everything. And I think one of the things that I did kind of put myself on, which is so contradicting to why I come here, is I put myself on a networking ban because I was like, it just dilutes what I'm here to do. Like, okay, you got with that person, oh, let's get another coffee. And then all of a sudden, it was my first meeting that I had to strengthen relationships that I built out here. So that is going to be a slow burner. Like Dubai and my business coming out here is gonna take a while, I'll be honest. I'd love to get a few new clients here, yeah, sure, but the bigger stuff, events, community building here, like that's gonna come. It's just gonna take a little while. So
100%. I think you've got a nice core of what you already do.
yeah.
So yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Do you think? I know I guess only been there for a couple of months, but Dubai is more supportive if you're a business owner or competitive?
I don't know if that's how I'd word it. I would say I feel like I'm in a better position because so many more people are business minded. So I feel like it doesn't feel competitive. I'm sure there is competition. I'm just not looking at it like that. I'm just seeing it as like every conversation I'm having is so much better. Not that London is shit or London is it, but I just feel that like, vast majority of people that I meet and spaces that I'm in, everyone's open to business discussion.
Everybody.
So I just feel like I feel way lighter, way more like